Alright, manual shutter. This first video is just going to be how to put the camera in manual shutter mode. And then I'll have a couple videos on what techniques you can do with manual shutter. Alright, so we're going to switch over to bat vision, I call it, to kind of coin it. It allows me to see the LCD screen. Okay. Note that there is an I button. I'm going to refer to that a lot. There's a menu button. I'm going to refer to that a lot. And I'm going to refer to the aperture button a little bit too. The camera is in manual mode. Okay, lightly hitting the shutter button allows you to go into this. And what we're going to do is first go into the eye. You need to pan over to this, the remote. So it's release mode. Click it, and then page down to remote. Okay, what's that mean? Well, now you're going to have one of these guys. This is probably the most useful thing in your collection ever. And it's the most inexpensive thing too. I think it's like 20 bucks. Nikon remote. Just look at bnhphoto.com. They have these, and type in whatever model number. You can either have one of these or a shutter release cable. I would highly suggest you get one of these. Just a lot better. Though you got to keep the batteries up on it. Okay, so now it's in the remote. If you crank back time, okay, so this one right here, without any buttons being pushed, just the reel. If I crank that all the way to the left, you can see it goes to time. Okay? Time states that if I press this button and press it again, open, close. So what happens during the events of it being open and being closed, that's what's going to be in the next video. But also know that you have freedom over changing aperture. So here's what happens. If I have aperture like this, 4.8, I get a lot of light because this aperture is wide open. And if you're unsure about what aperture is, please check out my understanding aperture video. But since it's wide open, light can get inside the camera very quickly. That means you don't have a whole lot of time to play around with light. If you have it, if you have it here, by pressing this button, you have a few seconds, which is really good. And this is almost overkill, but if you really want to play around with light, you can have it on f32, which is a really small hole in your camera. Lots of time to play around with light. So we'll look at one of these really fun exercises first to get you started. That way you're not scared of the camera, because usually this is kind of the first starter lessons for students. So this one kind of spawns everything. In the next video, I'll show you what we can do with these settings.